Right. So today we're really diving into a true internet institution, I guess you could say. IGN's The Vestibule. You wanted to know more about it, this pretty infamous forum, and we're here to deliver.
And by inside scoop, we mean we're virtually opening up just one single page of this massive forum, October 3rd, 2024.
October 3rd, 2024. Okay, so just to be clear, one out of over 48,000 pages of discussion. So
yeah,
we're not even scratching the surface here.
Yeah, 48,000 pages. That's a whole library dedicated to whatever the Vestibule's all about.
Right, which hopefully you can shed some light on. For those maybe less familiar, what is it that makes this specific corner of IGN boards so legendary or infamous, I guess, depending on who you ask?
Yeah, it's often called the most infamous board in IGN history, and for good reason. It's a place that's known for being very raw, unfiltered. People go there to discuss, well, anything and everything under the sun, really, from like breaking news to their deepest thoughts, and all with a distinct lack of, let's just say, a filter.
Yeah, so like a digital town square, but instead of just polite chit chat, it's just this constant stream of hot takes and inside jokes that you're not in on, and confessions that you probably didn't need to hear. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, precisely. And it's that really unvarnished look into the collective consciousness of a very specific segment of the internet that I think makes it so compelling.
Yeah. Okay, so what better way to understand it than to just kind of dive right into the thick of it? This page alone, just looking at it, feels like this weird microcosm of the internet itself. You've got breaking news. The port strike is apparently over already, like, real world events unfolding in real time alongside everything else.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it shows how the forum acts as this kind of central hub, a place for people to connect, not just on niche interests, but also on shared experiences, like as they're happening.
Yeah. And speaking of niche interests, we've got Sabrina Carpenter could fuck me.
There you have it. The let's just say the unfiltered side of the Vestibule.
Yeah.
It's just this reminder that anonymity online can sometimes lead to these incredibly candid and sometimes baffling expressions.
Right. It really makes you wonder if these are things that people would say out loud, like in their daily lives.
Yeah.
Or if the Vestibule just offers a sort of pressure valve for, those kind of wilder thoughts.
It's a question worth considering. Is it a space for genuine expression or simply a place to just kind of vent without any social consequences?
Right. And maybe it's both.
Yeah.
But before we go too far down that rabbit hole, this thread title here, it's crazy to see technology grow so drastically. Yet video games look worse. Like classic Vestibule, just right into the heated gaming debate.
Oh, yeah. I mean, gaming is definitely a recurring theme in the Vestibule. And this thread, I think, highlights this common tension, right? The constant push and pull between technological advancement versus, just the subjective nature of what makes a game visually appealing.
It's interesting, though, how even in those heated gaming debates, like you said, recurring theme, you'll see threads like right alongside it. Remember Virtua Fighter 4? A little bit of nostalgia amidst the chaos.
Yeah, and nostalgia is such a powerful tool for connection, especially online, right? Because it creates this instant bond over shared experiences and memories, even on a platform that is seemingly as chaotic as the Vestibule.
It's that mix of like passionate debate and then weirdly specific nostalgia that makes the Vestibule feel so distinct. But it's not all fun and games, is it? We've also got threads like this one that are discussing this New Hampshire ruling on schools outing trans students to their parents.
Right. Yeah. This thread is, reflecting a real world event, obviously, with some pretty significant implications. And it highlights how the Vestibule, despite its often irreverent tone, can also become this space for discussing serious news and political issues.
And how do those discussions, how do those typically tend to go down in a space that is known for its, let's just say, unfiltered takes?
Yeah, it's a mixed bag, to be honest. You have threads that just devolve into the same kind of heated arguments that you see everywhere else online, but then you also see these surprisingly nuanced discussions emerge.
Yeah.
Often with personal anecdotes kind of woven in.
So it's not just about spouting off opinions, it's also sharing experiences and maybe even finding some common ground, even on these divisive topics.
Exactly. And I think that, that anonymity seems to allow for this different kind of vulnerability where people feel comfortable sharing those personal stories that maybe they wouldn't feel comfortable sharing in, other spaces.
Yeah, it's almost like the anonymity creates this strange sort of intimacy.
Yeah.
Where the line between, like public forum and personal diary gets a little blurry.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. And it's not even just limited to serious topics. Take this thread, for example. Just got back from my vasectomy.
Whoa, okay. Talk about oversharing. Though I guess nothing is really off limits in the vestibule.
Right. Which speaks to that sense of community I was mentioning earlier. Is like they're sharing these life updates with a group of friends, even if those friends are mostly, strangers on the internet.
Yeah, and like any good group of friends, they're not afraid to get a little philosophical. This thread right here. What if rain is just?
Right. From the profound to the mundane, it's all fair game. And I think this juxtaposition is part of what makes the vestibule so, fascinating, because it reflects the full spectrum of human thought with all its quirks and contradictions.
One minute you're reading a heated debate about, the geopolitical climate, and then the next you're pondering the existential nature of rain. It's enough to give you digital whiplash.
Yeah, and just when you think you've seen it all, you stumble upon a thread like Mike Pence stopping a coup probably makes him a top 50 American historical figure.
Ah, yes, the political hot takes of the vestibule. Always a wild ride.
What's striking is how these seemingly outlandish statements can still spark genuine debate. It goes back to that idea of the vestibule as this microcosm of the internet itself, reflecting the diversity of opinions, however strongly held, that exists online.
And sometimes those opinions are based on, let's just say, interesting criteria. This one, Harris laughs funny, so I'm not voting for her.
There you have it. The nuanced world of political discourse, vestibule style.
Yeah. It makes you wonder if there's a hidden algorithm at play determining which topics are going to get the most traction, just based on absurdity and genuine engagement.
Perhaps. Or maybe it's just further proof that in the online world, sometimes the most unexpected content finds a way to, rise to the top.
Great. Survival of the fittest, digital edition. Speaking of survival, this next thread caught my eye. The prepper mindset. Are you ready for the end?
Yeah, it's interesting how even in a space that's dedicated to, seemingly lighthearted banter, that those anxieties about the future still seep through. And the whole prepper mindset, right, with its focus on self-sufficiency and preparedness seems to resonate with a certain segment of the vestibule community.
Maybe it's a way of finding some kind of control in this increasingly uncertain world.
Right.
Or maybe they just really like canned goods.
Yeah.
Who knows? But hey, even preppers need a break from, apocalypse planning, which is probably why someone started a thread about underrated movies that are underrated.
Exactly. It all circles back to that core human need for connection and shared experience, whether it's, debating the merits of obscure films or reminiscing about vintage video games or even just sharing your vasectomy story with the world, The vestibule offers a platform for it all.
Yeah. It's this reminder that even in this vast and often chaotic landscape of the internet, people are still craving those spaces where they can just be themselves, connect with others, and maybe even find a little bit of solace in the shared absurdity of it all.
Yeah, it's like this digital campfire, where instead of ghost stories, you're getting hot takes on Sabrina Carpenter and existential musings on the nature of rain.
Yeah, and somehow it works, right? The vestibule, against all odds, has just cultivated this really strange sense of community.
Yeah.
It's a place where people can be their unfiltered selves, even if that self is a little rough around the edges, It makes you question, what community even means in the age of the internet. Is it about, shared values, geographical proximity, or is it simply just having a platform to yell into the void together, regardless of whether or not anyone is really listening?
Yeah, it's a fascinating question, and one that I think the vestibule, maybe unintentionally forces us to confront.
Right.
It really challenges our preconceived notions of what even constitutes, a meaningful social space.
Yeah, and maybe it tells us that those notions are evolving, just like the internet itself. I mean, who would have thought that a forum dedicated to video games would become this breeding ground for existential debates and political hot takes and post-vasectomy updates?
Right. It's a testament to the unpredictable nature of online communities and that human desire for connection that just transcends any specific, you know, topic or interest.
It's like that old saying, it's the journey, not the destination. Or in this case, it's the bizarre meandering threads, not the overarching purpose of the forum itself that really matters.
Precisely. And as we're, wrapping up our deep dive into this single page of the Vestibule, it's worth remembering that this is just a tiny snapshot of a much, much larger ecosystem.
48,000 pages.
Yeah.
We've barely scratched the surface.
Exactly. Who knows what other, treasures or train wrecks await in the depths of those digital archives.
I guess that's part of the allure, right? It's the endless possibilities, the strange and wonderful corners you can stumble upon just by, clicking the next thread.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the next time you find yourself feeling a little, lost in this vast expanse of the internet, remember the Vestibule?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a reminder that even in the most unexpected of places, amidst all the chaos and absurdity, there's a certain beauty to be found in the shared human experience, even if that experience involves like debating the merits of Mike Pence's historical ranking or confessing your undying love for Sabrina Carpenter.
Right, exactly. It's a microcosm of the human condition and all its messy, contradictory glory playing out, one forum post at a time. And on that note, I think it's time for us to log off and ponder the profound mysteries we've uncovered today. Until next time, may your internet adventures be ever in your favor, and may you always find a digital space where you can be your weird, wonderful self, no matter how strange that self may be.